Welcome in, welcome in, welcome back to the Crypto Bully Bear Dakota channel. All right, now we're finally going to get into a little bit of Back to the Future movie here. Now, I know you people are dying for me to break down the movie, but you got to understand that some of these things, now that I feel like we're reaching the end and crypto is about to get flipped, a lot of things in articles and stuff like that are coming out that I can kind of relate to Back to the Future, so I can start bringing you a little bit more heavier content. Now, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. All right, so here on the bottom where it says 3 days ago, it says Robert. If you don't know who he is, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert says he has the best-selling author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. He warns that the U.S. is sliding into a depression. Now, if you watch my videos on XRP is not a security, it's a currency. I believe toward the end there's a part, or if you watch the Simpsons, the Bitcoin episode, there's a part where Smithers and Burns is walking through the street. They leave a problem on a whiteboard in the middle of town, and Smithers is talking to Burns, and he says, "Oh, I knew you shouldn't have that second blueberry." Now, one of the comments in the video, I couldn't find it, I forgot the person's name, they pointed out to me that blueberries related to depression. So I go back to the Simpsons, he mentions, "Oh, you shouldn't have ate that second blueberry." So I'm like, oh wow, second depression maybe? So I'm like, if history repeats itself, we had the C virus come around, right? We had that come around last year. That last thing that had happened was 100 years ago, was the Spanish cuckoo. Okay, so if history repeats itself, and I'm like, oh, maybe there could be a depression. I remember back the Simpsons episode where he said the second blueberry. So then I'm like, oh, let me go look at what happened down in the Depression. What year was that? Let me get 1929. As you see on the bottom, it says the year marked the end of a period known in American history as the Roaring Twenties. Now, the Roaring Twenties, if you go back to the future, if you remember correctly, they had the Lions Estate. Lions Estate. I don't know if that has to do with anything, but I'm just saying things that I noticed. The Lions Estate in Back to the Future, and then you got the Roaring Twenties after the Wall Street crash of 1929. So, me digging the way I do, I come across, and who's the president? So, we get Mr. Hoover, Herbert Hoover. And then the president before him was Calvin Coolidge. Now, my own crazy vision. Now, again, I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm just saying things that I noticed and I'm pointing out. There's a part in the movie when Marty McFly gets hit by the car, and then they take him in, and he wakes up to his mother in a younger version. And they name him Calvin Klein because of the name of his underwear. Now again, I know most people like Calvin Klein does not match up with Calvin Coolidge. Now I say Coolidge because it kind of sounds like Klein. Calvin Klein. What I did notice though, Calvin Klein, we're going to go down over here, he was the 30th president. Alright? And if you know the powers that be, they like to mess with the numbers 30, 33, 30, the number 3, 13, 666. They like to play with those numbers. But just to go here, I noticed that this gentleman was born July 4th. Back to the Future, the first one that came out on Independence Day, July 4th. Now, All right. Nothing to do with the crash, but I noticed that they named McFly Calvin Klein, and then over here's Calvin Klein. She was the 30th president. They like 30s. And I just noticed that what the coincidence was when the day that he was born is the day that Back to the Future actually came out. Not the same year, but the same day, the same month and day. Now you got the next president that came in, Herbert Hoover. I want you to remember his last name, Hoover. And I get over here and look at Mr. Hoover. Right above where it says people also ask. It says, before serving as America's 31st president from 1929 to 1933. There you go again. Those numbers again. 33. Hubert Hoover had achieved international success as a mining engineer. Now, what do we do with proof of work? We mine. Again, I'm not saying that all this is connected. I'm just saying that things that I noticed. So the last name I want you to notice is Hubert Hoover. Okay? So I'm like, all right. Here we go. I'm going to get back into the future. Okay, so now we're going to go to Back to the Future Part 2. Now, if you remember, there was a hoverboard scene. That there was a chasing scene. Look at the name of the board. Hoverboard. I know it doesn't say Hooverboard, but there's a really big resemblance. Hoverboard. Okay? Now I want to show you a clip, but I'm not going to play this whole thing. Hold on a second. Alright, now I'm just pausing along. Now see this part? I paused it. Look above McFly's head. Look at the top of the bank over there with the clock tower. Now, underneath the clock on the sides, I believe those are two cats, two lions. As we remembered, there were the roaring 20s when the crash happened. Now here we have the chase scene. I'm going to play for you, and then I'm going to pause it. I want you to hear one phrase that one of the guys screams at Marty McFly when he gets stuck over the water. See him right there? He said, "Hey, McFly, you bojo." All right? Now, I'm going to go back and forth over here. Actually, let me just stay on this screen here. And let me play. This
Most don't work on water unless you've got power.
See how Biff's face was like surprised when he heard no power? Now I'm just thinking, if you watched the Bitcoin episode on The Simpsons, he did mention in the middle that dude was like, oh, you can't eat cryptocurrency when the grid goes down. That's why I started my hedge fund. They're talking about losing power here. So losing power doesn't really mean losing power. He's on a hoverboard and he has to, he's over water. So if you know when the crash happened, we had no liquidity. So this right here shows, I'm going to show you where they show the crash is going to happen. Fast forward it here. Now you see there, Biff's board comes up and it hits a rock on the bottom. Now, in my own vision, my own eyes, I'm thinking they hit rock bottom. Rock and the bottom of the board. And then what happens? They crash into the mall. Now look at those colors over there. These colors over here. You don't see red and green, and on this side of the wall is red and green, and this is red and green over here. And when I play it, you're going to see more red and green. There's more red and green there. And now look at this here. There's more red and green here. Now, if you notice, there's nothing outside for it to be a reflection on that glass. Outside is literally an open field. They were just swimming around over water. So I'm not too sure what that for reflection is, but if that reflection is there for us to see those colors or that design and make something of it, kind of looks like ribbons to me. I'm thinking Christmas time, and I'm going to show you why I think Christmas time is there. Now, if you remember, that gentleman screamed at McFly when he couldn't kick anymore, when he was trying to go with the hoverboard and he was kicking in the water and he wasn't going anywhere. He screams, "McFly, you bojo." All right? So, let's go to the Gematria and let's go have a look. I'm going to bring you to the English version. Now you can go on here and you can look it up right there. There's this website that I use, gematriax.org. And there it is. And you got a few names over here. You want to go look at it yourself. You can look at a few things yourself here. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but why I'm going to show you that red and green to me means Christmas time is I'm going to come over here. This is the English simple version of Gematria. And we look over here and we start with, there you go, we start with Jesus born December 7th. And then we can just scroll down here. The Bible God December code page. And then you got Tuesday, December, Gods in December Zodiacs, Amazing December, Gematria, December Sagittarius, Clear December Prophecy, Pure December Zodiac Code, December Zodiac Undeniable. You can see December, Clear 1200. If you know 12, that is also known as December. Christ being human again, being born. He was born on Christmas time, which is in December. You got December numerology, December astrology. Just December all the way down. December for prophecy. I mean, December. Then we got April 10. Now, and back to the, sorry. In the Simpsons, in the Bitcoin episode, we had the lady with the name tag called April on her. I don't know what's going to happen, but if we do know, April does start the second quarter of 2022. So, if they're going to keep it twos, they could do it on February 22nd, 2022. Or they could do it in the second quarter of 2022. Don't really know. There's your 10 Days of Darkness that we all heard from freaking Joey B, our Prezi. You know, he had said that about 10 Days of Darkness coming up and all this other crap. And this is why I think maybe Christmas time, we might have something popping off. If you went and you know Bearable... I think it was Bearable Guy. He was coming out with like riddles and stuff for the XRP. And there was one of those riddles that had the bear looking at the sun through the telescope. And if you read through it, it says something about having a great Christmas and a fantastic New Year and all that other stuff. There's another puzzle where we have a Christmas tree and we have a hand cranking a wheel, which looks like there's coins, like recycling. There's a fire in the background. And we have a big Christmas tree with gifts around it as well. I'm just saying, those are the puzzles that were out. One of the phrases in Back to the Future 2, I poked in there, which was, "Hey McFly, you bojo." And we're getting all these Christmas stuff. And it happened to be that same scene that these guys, Biff and the gang, crashed into the glass. And inside there was all red and green colors. In the same movie, in Back to the Future 2, if you go to the taxi cab on top is red and green. I did an H-bar video, which I said I think Christmas time is going to be something. I don't know if it'll be for H-bar particular, but I know something's going down. It could be the Flair Finance. I haven't broken that down yet to show you. That's also in Back to the Future. A lot of crazy things I seen in the movie. that I believe I seen. I'm not saying that they're true, just something that I seen that I want to share with you guys and pass it on. And hopefully I can have you start using some of the tools that you probably didn't even know you had within your head and your vision. And you can now foresee things. Alright? And I'm going to let you know here, I should have said it in the beginning of the video, but I do not leave my number, WhatsApp number at all on YouTube. At all. The only way you're going to try to contact me, or if we get in contact with one another, if I personally message you through my Twitter page, and we're DMing one another, then you might be able to think that it probably is me. But I will not leave my number there. I will not ask you for a penny, because what I am saying here is not financial advice. I'm not telling you that I am correct. I am just telling you what I think I see, and I'm sharing my vision with you guys. And I'm hoping that you have an eye like me, and maybe you can see the same thing. Or maybe no. Maybe nobody sees the same thing. You tell me who's putting other content like this out than me. I think I'm probably one of the most original guys, because it's not like I'm relaying daily news to you over and over and telling you, well, this is it, and look at this news, and I'm telling you that you're going to wind up 10xing tomorrow. No, I don't do that. I don't say dates. I can predict. I can have a guess, but I'm not going to tell you that I think this is going to happen on this day and this price is going to happen on that day. I don't do that. I don't know prices or whatnot. The only thing I will tell you price-wise, and I'm going to keep mentioning it also, I don't do price predictions, but whatever you think Bitcoin can get to, I believe that XRP can 10 times that amount. And that's all I'll say. So if people are out here thinking that Bitcoin can hit $1 million, with my theory, then I think that XRP can be $10 million. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not telling you it is going to $1 million. I'm just saying whatever Bitcoin can do, XRP can do 10 times better and faster. And just for the record, just to keep in the back of your mind, remember that Joe Katz, David Schwartz, he mentioned something about how XRP, if it was $1 million, it just need one. He had used $1 million and XRP in the same sentence. If you go back to the Bitcoin episode of The Simpsons, toward the end, when Jim Parsons is explaining Bitcoin, right after they buy the jet ski and they get off that scene, the next scene, Jim Parsons standing in front of a sign called Big Bang Theory or Big Bang Residuals. If you add up those numbers, you see 13 million. I'm not saying the XRP is going to get to that price. I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm just letting you know that if they believe that Bitcoin can hit $1 million, with those being said, and Simpsons showing the $13 million at the end of that little clip, and David Schwartz speaking about XRP and $1 million being in the same sentence on Twitter, I'm just saying that there could be a possibility that that can be true. The Simpsons pretty much been on point. And that's the end of this video. I think I made it too long. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like, and let's push this information out there, because there's plenty of money to be made. Love you guys, and I'm out.